Hello all and welcome back to High Ridge Farm with me, the Walrus. Today is the Friday, the 19th of winter, and it is a beautiful, lovely day. There's not even a snowstorm in the air. The snow is settled, my footprints will be settling lovely. But as you can see, I'm just offloading some of the stuff that I had from my most recent excursion into the desert caves of Skull Caverns. Got a few more fire quartzes that are ready for putting into furnace. And at the moment I've got 122 refined quartz, so that's a reasonable amount, but I'm still going to need more gold and more iron so that I can actually process that into solar panels, which is kind of what I'm aiming for with them at the moment. One of the other things that I'm planning on doing this weekend is just making sure that I have everything in order for the slimes, because I've never really had a slime hutch before, so I'm a little bit unfamiliar with what exactly I need to do to make sure that it's optimal. Like with the animals, it's not too difficult, I don't think, because, you know, as long as you're able to provide the food, you're pretty much golden. With the slimes, now, they haven't hatched yet. I don't believe they would have hatched overnight. I think they take a few days to hatch. I assume. Again, I could be very wrong because I just don't know, to be honest. But that's going to be a major thing that I'm going to do. I'm also looking at, during the next few days or beginning of next week, sorting out the layout of the farm a little bit. And trying to figure out where do I want to place the slime hutch in relation to other things, what could I move, you know, that sort of stuff. But for now, I'm going to definitely put a chest in here. Now, I've seen people using fences to sort of partition off areas for the slime so that they lower risk of damage, possibly? I'm not sure. So I'm just going to build one anyway. But here's a little nifty trick, however, I'm going to show you when I build this fence. Which is that if you have a gate in your hand, and you place it onto a fence, you get a gate made of the same material, and it makes it look more conforming with the rest of it. Which, you know, I think is more admirable, and that's kind of what you want, isn't it? So it's a minor thing, I'm aware, but it is something that I think is quite interesting nonetheless. Okay. Right, well, I'm going to put these eggs in for mayonnaise manufacture because, well, why not? That's kind of what they're there for. We've got a couple of other things that we need to organise and sort out today, which is going to be nothing super major difficult, I don't believe, but it is going to be a thing that we do need to sort out, and that's going to be just making sure that the animals are well prepared with food and other sort of materials that they need, because that's something that I'm painfully aware is very easy for me to essentially just not actually pay attention to and end up mistakenly not actually doing properly. Because I haven't been able to figure out a good way of growing decent amounts of grass for me to harvest, not really harvest the grass per se, but so the animals can actually eat it, I struggle in that I don't have enough hay for them to eat. Now, it's something that I can generate by slicing down fibre when I'm using my sword, because it has the Haymaker perk, or magical enchantment ability, whatever you really want to describe it as, but that is something I'm kind of not concerned per se, but it is something I do need to look at a little bit more closely. But in the meantime, we're going to make more jams and preserves, because again, we're going to go for some little bit more money. I mean, look at this. I've achieved the perfection point, which I wanted to, and I've already made another 2 million in the meantime, and I don't think that that's particularly unreasonable. It's just the processing of wines and such, which makes sense, being that this is essentially more of a vineyard than it is a a farm, really. Yeah, I've got animals, but I don't really view them as the be-all and end-all of needing to be here. It's actually the amount of resources that are produced by them. They're there. It's kind of negligible comparatively. But really, it's the wine and preserve making. So the fruits come along from my extra plot, which kind of makes some sense in the ways of some. So having been on a couple of vineyard tours, interestingly enough, in Germany, of all places, I visited a wine growing region there. The name escapes me for the moment. The Moselle, there we go. And there's a very British stereotype that German wine is a terrible, terrible thing and it tastes awful. Now, having drunk English wine, that is terrible, and I'm sure there are some exceptions that prove the rule, but German white wine is fantastic, and I really enjoyed talking with the growers and people who owned restaurants that were based around selling their wines from their vineyards, and it was phenomenal. I bought a case of wine back to the UK and it gone very, very quickly, but they had this amazing peach schnapps that was bright red in colour almost, and it was just made from the peaches that just happened to grow on the vineyards. They were like, we didn't plant them, they just grow, so we make alcohol from them, so why would we not make a schnapps? It's fantastic. I love it. But that's the sort of thing, like, it'd be kind of interesting to see whether, because of course although I'm growing said produce, I know I've got to ship it back to the farm in a way, because of course I'm carrying it myself. I know the magic and all the teleporting stuff, but it's interesting seeing we need the wine, and it's more of that industrial side of production sort of thing that's going on in my head, at least for this sort of thing. That we've industrially produced it, and we've got to take it to a separate place to be produced, and blah blah blah. But all the same, we've got it golden, and it's fantastic. We've got lots of stuff going on, and yeah, makes me happy, because I want my farm to be phenomenally good and just great at producing all sorts of expensive, valuable things, which I think is perfectly reasonable. Because that's how it's going to be. I am going to want to produce as much expensive material as possible and make as much money as possible, really. The question really comes from, what am I going to need the money for going forward now? Now, of course, I'm purchasing a large stash of hay. Now, I know that I've got 4 silos, which I think they hold 240 each. So I've got just shy of 1,000 storage space. Unless I've only got 3, then it's like some. But I can't remember. I think there is actually an inherent limit to how many of them you can have. But it is, I think if there is a limit, one hopes that it is based upon the number of animal holding buildings, such as the coop or the barns that one has. So I've got 700 hay here. That should last me easily until the end of the winter period. I didn't mean to hit that with a hammer, but it's just what happened. Okay. Let's quickly nip on back to the farm, because that's where we need to head. Okay. So we're going to dump that in there. So we've got 700 pieces in there. Okay, so I must have only 3 silos. So I have a storage capacity of 720 then. That's not awful. But the trouble is, that's all the hay I had. I didn't actually have any available at the time. So I could be in a little bit of a kerfuffle with some of the animals. I don't think all the animals are going to produce today, because they've obviously not had food, which is not good. I love having made a slight mistake there, because essentially what I've done there is I've made the mistake of not actually having enough for them, which is terrible. But for now, we're going to grab all of these and going to grab the ancient fruits. They're going to be slapped in for production to turn into wines and jams. Probably the wine, but for now, it's just going to be added to the resource stockpile of stuff to use. Let's quickly grab all these last bits. I'm still debating on what other trees to plant in here, but at the same time, I'm also holding off because there could be more trees being brought in. So I don't know. So I'm erring on the side of caution, considering I've got 2 banana trees and 2 mango trees, and they're the valuable trees in my own, not really my own opinion. The game doth say they are a valuable fruit. And that's kind of really what I'm looking at the moment, is the value of the fruits. So let's see what we can do here. Okay. I am very much enjoying the way that the magical turban alternates in colour and cycles through it. It's quite snazzy. I like it. I like it a lot. I know, small things, small minds, but it makes me happy, so it's a thing. So yes, it's something that makes me happy, and I think that's kind of a given. That, you know, there's stuff that's always going to make you happy and stuff that's going to make you smile, and that is one of them. Okay. I guess it's kind of why I was suggesting that I would quite like to have a couple more of them for my children going forward, and that'd be kind of fun, I think, for them to have hats like that would look kind of pleasant. Now, I'm painfully aware that I do keep going okay a lot. It's just a force of habit for some unbeknownst reason of mine. I can't help it, unfortunately. But anyway, we're heading back to Ginger Island for a moment, as we have a few more things that we kind of want to look into, and need to go and get more stone. It shouldn't be super difficult to achieve that, but that is something that I do need to do as part of my quest to improve myself and complete the quest that has been provided for me by Robin. Now, the quest itself shouldn't be super difficult to achieve, but it is something that I do need to pay a little bit of close attention to and just be careful. Because, yeah, I need it. But at the same time, I'm also after the cinder shards while I'm here, and any gold or iron, which would be useful to me. Going forwards as a kind of a thing, the grabbing more of the iron and gold will eventually mean that I'll be able to have a greater amount of these solar panels placed into the desert, which is a big consideration of mine at the moment, because I do want to make sure that I have a decent amount of stuff coming from the desert, because otherwise it's just an empty, barren bit of land, which, well, duh, it's a desert, but it is also a bit of a shame that it is, well, so useless, really. And I would like to kind of see what I can do to change that fact. I'm not expecting much, but it is something that I would like to be able to do and make sure. Because, yeah, it's kind of important to make sure that we can have a better end result out of it. Also, it's the first time I've ever really tried to use the desert for such purposes. Now, I don't think I could use it to grow crops, because, of course, there is that you need to plant in it on the farm, which I'm aware that there are mods that allow you to plant anywhere and so on and so forth. But I feel quite pleased with myself in the fact that I've kind of done a mostly mod-free run. The only mods that I have are graphical, such as the changing colour of the grass for each season and the wines. So it's not like I've given myself a big advantage or anything. And that's kind of the way I would like to go with it, is that I prefer the idea of playing a game and making it harder for myself rather than easier, which I think I've mentioned before, because it's just the way that my brain kind of works. But anyway, I'm going to blow a fat hole through all of this large quantity of stone. Look at that, all that stone, that should be good. We must be close to our goal of 1,000 by now. I mean, one would hope that we're close to the goal of 1,000, because that's, you know, we've still got a lot there. Okay, so we're gonna... Oh look, none of them are... Oh, there's a hostile one. Well, it died very quickly. It's almost like they were rarer because they were just... No, I'm dead. Easy peasy. I'm not upset about that. Not at all, believe me. Okay, so we're going to smash that open, and that, and there's a robot, and it's dead. Okay. Hopefully... is the word of the day here. We can gather the stone quickly enough and also get some more iron and gold, which of course is stuff that I've mentioned previously that I did want more of, which is great, and I'm glad that that's appeared because that makes my life a lot easier. But what else is there here that I could use? I mean, hopefully there's something of kind of use here for me. But we'll see. Okay, we'll blow that up. That's fine. What other stuff can we do? Well, I'll beat you in the face with a hammer because you just need to go away and die because you're there. And that's how this works, I'm afraid. You're there, you need to die. I'm sorry, that is just how it works in this game, is when it's a hostile thingy, it needs to die. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, I'm afraid. Just go away. Right. Now, the other next thing that I'm kind of considering as well is what else can I do when I achieve everything? Like, with, like, the next big thing is tweaking the dagger. Now, I think, considering it's got a high swing speed, unlike the hammer where I decided that using an emerald was a good idea to improve the emerald to make it a better, faster swinging weapon, I think it's really going to be on either critical damage or swing speed. Not swing speed, sorry, the damage itself it'll do. Okay, so that's the stone done, so we can actually abandon much more of this, especially considering we're coming up to midnight. That's good. We don't need to do anything particularly exciting here at the moment, so that's good. Let's just quickly sort this out then. Thank you very much. We'll grab that stone. That's all good. What other stuff do we need to sort out? I guess is the big question, isn't it? I don't think there's much else that we need to really work on other than just detonating bombs. I'm getting a lot of cinder shards today, so my luck must be a little bit higher than average, which is nice. But for now, we're going to head on back home, start Saturday off, I think. Let's deposit the gubbins away in the appropriate place. Or places, more to the point. There we go, so that can go there, and that can go there, that's fine. What next? Well, not really much else to worry about, is there? I don't think. Because we've got most of the important stuff out of the way, haven't we? Everything is deposited in the correct place, blah, blah, blah. Which is really, again, what I'm after, and making sure that I have everything placed in the right place. And, you know, I have my methods to my madness. And that is really, honestly, all I can say at this point, is I have an idea that I want to achieve, and I kind of have to hope on the best for that one, unfortunately. Okay, so we're now into day 20 of the winter period, which is lovely. And so it's Saturday, we've made a little bit more money overnight, gonna drink some coffee, and then looks like the coffee plants are ready for another harvest, so that's going to be more more beans that need to be turned into coffee. It would be quite nice if, with the coffee seeds, that we were actually able to roast them as an extra step and actually maybe improve or change their effects, because that'd be fun. And I'm not expecting much from that as a sort of like as an aside, but it would be quite cool if that was a thing that we could do. There we go. A nice early morning kiss with the wife, and heading on into the cellar where nothing is ready. That's fine. Not too worried about nothing being ready. That's kind of a given for those kegs because they do take a very long time. Now, the next big thing really is planting these extra seed, well, these beans into the soil in my growing shed, because I would quite like to have more from them. So it might sound an unusual sort of logic for myself, but I want to make sure that I can grow more coffee, because I do have a distinct lack of it. And I would like to make a greater amount of coffee every day, because I do need 3 coffee to make a single espresso, which I'm not sure about the actual conversion on that, but it's a thing, and it's important, because being able to make the espresso, because of its longer lasting effects, and the fact that it can be benefited by the key seasoning, although as I'm aware it doesn't actually make a difference to the key seasoning, well, to the speed boost that one gets, which is a shame. I would very much like it if it did, but that's just how that works. Unfortunately, I can't really change the way the game plays on that. So that's a thing. Okay, so let's see what other things we can do here today whilst we're roaming around. Okay, so we've got ourselves some more squid ink. That's good. And the thing is, I think I should condense the fish ponds a bit. It is going to be, it's a consideration that I'm going to have to try next week, I think, is trying to see what one actually obtains from them. Like, can one actually get the sea cucumbers, for example? So I mentioned in the previous video that one of the things I would like to do is to put sea cucumbers into one of the ponds, because they're an integral part of the Lucky Lunch, which is, shockingly enough, phenomenally helpful and really good, because it gives you such a big boost to your luck. Now, of course, I've not yet cooked one with the combination of the key seasoning, so I don't actually know how much luck eating a Lucky Lunch will actually increase it by. Presently, it does increase it by 3. I'm assuming with a roughly 20% increase is what you usually see from a key seasoning. So it'll give you a luck of 4 as a boost, which, considering you can still increase that by another, goodness, by another 1 from ginger beer, it does look like that's a possibility. And I would like to kind of see how that will affect me in the long run, because if I can improve my luck by 4, that should mean the dungeon delving, trying to find these blasted lower floor accessing holes will be better. But my theory is that if I have a fish pond, because there is a quest that is given when you hit a certain threshold of them in there, do I need to repeat that quest threshold if I fish the stocks below that? And could I theoretically use it as an actual constant source of that particular fish? And I think, being the operative word, that should be feasible. And if that is, that's fantastic. We've got a fantastically useful bonus to myself there, which would be great. I'm not expecting it to work. It'll just be nice if it does. It's probably the best way of putting it, is I do hope that is the way that it works. So we'll see. Right, so what's the next big plan for myself today? Well, I guess that's the big question, isn't it? I've got a little bit of stuff that I need to work on with grabbing from people. I don't need to worry about relationships with people anymore because we've done that bit. We're already at the maximum friendship with everybody, which is great. I don't have to worry about that anymore, which is nice. But it is the other little things that I do kind of need to not worry so much about, but it is something that I do need to kind of organise more so. Right. Let's grab that. And let's grab this one as well. So the detritus off the beaches is always nice, and the nautilus shells are pretty. I'm thinking I might want to try and do some display places within the house as well for stuff that's just nice. Now, coral and sea urchins I am kind of trying to hold on to because of their ability of being used in some of the fertilizers. Because, of course, that is, as one might expect, quite helpful. Although they're not that helpful to me at this moment in time, because I believe they are used in the speed grow fertilizers, which I'm not super concerned about. I mean, yes, it's nice, but it's not one that I really, really need to be worried about, as I don't use them very much. Although, that is something that I should, in all honesty, be a little bit more aware of and actually try and use a bit better, because, well, surely that would make sense, really, wouldn't it? Why would you not have a resource that you're actually using? And that's something that I'm not. The speed grow itself, though, is maybe more useful for something that's I need very rapidly, but there aren't that many crops that I need with a high speed. Although I do wonder if it would make a difference to a sweet gemberry. But at the same time, is there that quality decrease of a sweet gemberry that you could have? I'm not sure. Because a sweet gemberry does take, I think, an entire season almost to grow. So it could theoretically cause me some problems. If I were to essentially ignore it. Okay, so there's nothing else I can donate to the museum. Now, it does seem a bit strange in some ways, because I've seen other people with different quests that he asks for. So I'm wondering if he has different... so when I had to count... you have to count a certain... a number of certain things that you see, like the flowers or something else. And I'm curious to see if he can offer you other quests later on down the line or not. I'm not sure. There we go. So I'm just using bombs to clear out this area here because I don't really need it all here, do I? That's a thing. Let's keep going. Let's cut down this one. And then we've got some more hardwood, which is great because hardwood is and always will be a very beautiful, useful resource. I don't need it so much, but maybe something I should potentially do is actually get the wood chipper, because that would help me if I need more wood, because I can turn hardwood into regular wood with it. But that's a consideration for another time, because right now what we're going to do is we're going up to the top of the volcano, we're going to pull out the dagger, and we're going to have a go and see what we can do with it. Because hopefully now we can actually sort out a decent amount of upgrades for it, because I want this bug slaying dagger. That's really what I'm after. So what have we got here? Crusader. So that's against the undead. That's fine. But that's not what I'm after. Bug killer. There we go. Fantastic. So I've now got the bug killing knife. Which is probably the best way of describing it. It's a bug killing knife for knifing bugs. What I do need now is a couple of rubies to improve the damage stat of said dagger. The other thing I could do is I could add like a topaz into it to increase its defense stat boost, which is a thing, and again could be quite handy. Not so sure though, but it is an option. But we'll give it a go. Okay. So we've got some of those. That's fine. What else do we want to sort out here? I mean, hopefully we can figure out something, can't we? Put the coal away. Right, so I've got a lot of copper, and I've got a fair old chunk of iron, and we've got some gold. So let's smelt some iron first, and hopefully that'll be, well, a decent amount per se. There we go. So that's that. So I'll put some gold in as well for smelting, because smelting for smelting's purposes. This is entirely what we're doing here, and this is why we do it. There we go. Let's get the gold in. And again, that's going to be used to make more of the very useful solar panels. And I think that's kind of reasonable, because again, solar panels are phenomenally helpful, and they are something that I really need more of. Because I don't think there's a very much a... At no point am I not going to say, I need more batteries. Was that, am I? Yeah, I'm not going to not say that. Hang on, that sounds real stupid. Let's try that again in English properly. There's going to be a very unlikely time when I say that I don't want more batteries. Because, yeah, I want more batteries. Because even at the end of the day, I can just sell them. They're reasonably valuable. And since they're a free resource that constantly generates, that requires no input, fantastic. Lovely stuff. And minimal effort, that is indeed what I'm all about. Low effort, maximum reward farming. Oh yeah. So we're going to make some more starfruit wine here. So I'm probably going to take a bunch of these bottles and put them inside the house as they will need to replace and replenish the stockpile of ones that go into the aging casks. But that's the thing, like, do I want to keep a stock of maybe 50 of them, 100? Because if I've got a decent amount in the house, then I can just go, well, I don't need any more, that's fine, I can just leave it at that, can't I? And that's probably the best way about it, isn't it? If I have it where I then don't need to worry about all of the other casks. Because then I can just throw all of the excess straight in for sale and just use it as a continuation of money. Now, I thought it'd be nice to sort of lay down some of the wooden flooring in the same way that I have in the other shed. Just as a... it'll make it look nicer. Might be quite pleasant. We're going to sell the ancient fruit wine straight away because I definitely don't want that. And starfruit can go in there. That's fine. Again, it's going to be something that we're going to get a lot of, isn't it? We're going to be growing it because of the stuff on Ginger Island. So yeah, please do tell me below if you've got ideas of things that you'd like to see me plant on Ginger Island, because Ginger Island is kind of being used in a very well, it's being used as a mass production of starfruit. There's no other way about it, is there? That's literally all it's being used for. So is there something else that you would like to see me use it for? Or something that you could think of that would be maybe a bit more beneficial to me, potentially. So that's something I do need to look at, potential usages of. Because, yeah, there's a lot that I could be using it for. What else I could use it for? Don't know. So, yeah, I'm going to have a think about that and actually properly kind of look into that a little bit more. So, yeah, let's give that a go at least. And that'll be fine. Okay, so we're going to slap that there. I'm going to put all this in. So we've got to have a bunch more gold smelting because, again, kind of a given. That's what we've got. We've got lots of gold, and we should probably smelt some of that just to make some more money. Well, I say more money, make more bars to turn into something more useful. And that is kind of just be a driving force of this, isn't it? Is what can I use, what can I make, and how am I going to do it? Okay, so that's the iridium. So yeah, we've got lots of copper that we could smelt, but we do actually have some... I keep forgetting that the transmutation is also a thing. And that's something I should probably be a little bit more aware of. Because transmuting stuff might be possibly my best option here. Because being able to transmute things... Ooh, I've got to have a think about that. I'm not sure. That is a consideration, isn't it? Being able to transmute the copper bars into iron and vice versa, that might give me a bigger benefit than I'm actually thinking about. That's going to have to be something that I really properly think about and actually, can I theoretically use it in a better way? So, that's a consideration. Let's cut this tray down. Get rid of you. We don't need you. That's fine. Moving on. Grab some holly and... I mean, thankfully we're coming up towards the end of the day, but there's not a huge amount... that I can actually do for the remainder of Saturday, I don't think. So let's give this a quick look around. What else is there? Well, let's grab this crocus. And that's the thing, like, I know I could make a bunch more of the seeds, actually, thinking about it. So this might sound very daft, but being able to use the seeds themselves to be used in the manufacture of tea plants, because you do need some of the mixed seeds from each of like the different seasons, and that might work out quite well from the forage seeds by using those, because I mean, we're in the winter anyway, we've got lots of them being produced. It probably works out quite well for me if I honestly think about it. So I think I should probably give that a try. And hopefully it works out well. I'm not saying that it will, but one can hope. One can hope indeed. So yes, we're going to give that a try at least. But for now, I'm just going to cut down some more trees because we've got lots and lots of them that just need removing. Because, well, that's what the quarry is for me. Is to just produce as much in the way of wood as possible. I think it's quite reasonable. I mean, I hope that people think that that is quite reasonable. Okay. Let's see what other nonsense we can sort out whilst we're here today. Well... got some more trees to plant. Again, that's not really the end of the world, is it? But I am considering what could I do with this area, and do I want to make it more organised? Because that is something I have seen done, and it looks quite nice when you actually organise your crops. When I say crops, sorry, organise your quarry area in a better way. Maybe that's something I should give a try to. So, we'll give that a try. Because you never know, I might come out with something that works well for what I'm sort of looking for, at least in this one. Okay, so what other stuff can we do as well today? That's kind of the big question, isn't it? Well, let's throw that in there, and we'll deposit the tree fertilizer. I think maybe the tree fertilizer is going to be something I'm going to need more of going forwards, because I have used it quite a lot, particularly on Ginger Island to speed grow some of the mahogany. So that's a consideration at least. Okay, so it's day 20 over. We've made a good $250,000, which is a good amount, I think. That's not an unreasonable figure to sort of have made in a day. And we will then... oh, a female slime is hatched and a male slime is hatched. So that means that I will potentially have continual more slime, which is good. I don't know how the crossbreeding of species works with slimes, and ooh, this could be exciting. Genuinely curious to see. And so we'll give it a go and see what actually happens here. Because, hey, we might end up with something good. I'm not expecting it, but it'd be nice. Right. Hello, my dear wife. We've got things to do. What do I want to do, actually? That's a quick question, isn't it? Okay, well, let's grab that letter and find out who's writing me letters. Demetrius, you sent me an amethyst. Thank you. It's going straight in the shipping bin because I don't really care. Unfortunately, it's just a thing that I'm just like, wow, yeah. Amethysts are pretty and all, but unfortunately, not really anything I care about too much, I'm afraid. So that's unfortunately how that goes. Okay. What's next? We've got all this material that's smelted that's nice. That's good. Let's grab all that and just fling it in there. And now, I think I've got a couple of these small shipping containers, and I would like to put them around the farm in different useful places, and that might be quite nice. Because, yeah, it'd be kind of fun to actually be able to ship out stuff from areas that are actually producing rather than just ignoring it almost. And I think that's the thing that I've kind of got to look at, is that using what I have, there are a few places that these shipping bins might be more useful. So I think maybe in the coops, for example, or in that general vicinity, although at the same time there is the shipping bin that's just outside. So, I'm not sure. Maybe I should actually put one in the desert, if I honestly look at it, because that might be useful. Okay, so we've got our slimes here being all slimy. Okay, so you can't remove the fixed one that comes as part of the hutch, and you can't move those. Well, let's put this other one back in the corner here. That'll be fine. Fine, there we go. Okay, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with these slimes here and how am I going to organize them. Because that's a thing to sort of think about, I think. Okay, so do I want to just pen them off? Do I want to give them free reign? I mean, what's a good idea? Honestly, I'm not sure what makes sense to me in this regard. Well, let's just grab all that anyway, at least. Give them free reign for now, unless I figure out something that might work out a bit better. Because I don't know what the big advantage would be for me here. I mean, I assume there is one. Just not sure what it is. Well, okay, let's separate this bit. Well, again, we've put that in there. That's fine. It looks nice. It feels weird to separate them from the water unless they just happen to need the water taken. Oh, unless that's how they escape. Because the slimes could escape. Oh, that's a... Ooh, I hadn't thought about that. Okay. Right. Obviously, I don't want the slimes to escape. That would be bad. Generally speaking. I mean, one would assume that escaping slimes is not high on the list of everyone's priorities. So, yeah. We've got another baby lizard, which is lovely. So we've got another little dinosaur, which I'm very happy about. I'm always happy about more dinosaurs, because dinosaurs are cute. And they are very much adorable. And that makes me happy. Other things that could hatch that might be useful. We've got that golden chicken coming. So when that hatches, that will be interesting. Because I'm curious to see what it even lays. Because is it also going to lay more golden eggs? Because if it does, that's really cool. So we are going to have to find that one out. But anyway, I'm going to put some milk in. That's fine. Milk in there. Milk, milk, milk. I should probably store some of that milk in the fridge in the house in case of other cooking recipes that I kind of want to make. So that's a possibility anyway. Right, so let's pop that in there. That's lovely. We've got our coconuts. Now, what am I going to do with that? I kind of want that for something, but I'm not entirely sure what. Surely there should be something that would be a good idea to use it for. I mean, one hopes there'd be a good thing for it for. Honestly, I'm thinking that really it has a big advantage in being used in some of the more tropical foods. And some of the tropical foods are quite good, I think. Not 100% sure about which one would work best. I mean, I know the mango sticky rice is a fantastic one. But again, I don't think that one requires a coconut. I could be wrong. Actually, no, I think that one does require a coconut. Because I think for like sticky rices and stuff, you generally want to use coconut milk as a general thing. Which is also something I do need to try using a little bit more of, is coconut milk in when it comes to cooking. It's not something I've really looked at doing. But at the same time, I've been picking up other cookbooks for Indonesian food, as well as a kind of an interest in trying out some of the more Caribbean and particularly, I say just Caribbean, but particularly from where's it called? It's great when you can't remember the name of the place you're thinking about. From Trinidad and Tobago. And actually, I'm very curious to see what sort of interesting flavor combinations that I can have fun with. Because I think that's very reasonable to want to try out different cuisines and try out different food things to give it, give it a go. See what works. See what's interesting and what people like to use. And that's kind of what I'm playing for here, at least. Okay. So back into my resource and manufacturing shed, which is this one here, as previously mentioned. Now, the other thing I'm also looking at as well is what other stuff can I feasibly gather? Because hopefully I can gather some useful stuff. Ah, look at that. We've got some more batteries that are ready. So that's fantastically useful. Because batteries are going to be a constant thorn in my side at the moment. I'm always going to need more of them, sadly. Until I make more of all like the crystallariums and things. Because that's actually really why I need the batteries. So, I'm actually thinking about it. Oh. If I genuinely think about it, maybe I don't need the batteries as much as I thought I did, because I've already got the crystallariums that I wanted already built. Okay. Well, that's a consideration, isn't it? Slightly frustrating, but oh well, we'll live with it. But, while we're here today, we're just going to quickly delve a bit further into the mine of Skull Caves. And again, trying to get more gold, more iron, because that's a resource that I need I need more of. And that's, again, I feel quite reasonable to try to strive to get more of it. So yeah, what other stuff do we need? I think that's the question, isn't it? Okay. Well, I was hoping for a passageway down. I haven't got one really quickly yet. But again, more Omni Geodes is fantastically helpful because that means I could save those up again and buy more of these turbines. I mean, they're 333 each, so it's not impossible for me to gather that. It'll take a few trips down into the mines, I believe, but it's not an impossibility for me to sort out. Hopefully that'll be a reasonable sort of quest to achieve. Okay, so we've got more of these serpents that need to go away. Thankfully, again, I've got the healing hammer going, which is a strange sort of thing to say. I have a healing hammer. Fear me, for I can heal myself with a hammer. And it works. It works very nicely. It's a very good weapon. There we go. So let's jump on down this hole here and see where we end up. Unfortunately, nothing exciting down here, I'm afraid. It's me and my despising of these particular floors that I just do not enjoy. Which drive me nuts. So, yeah, we're going to be retreating through this as quickly as possible. And hopefully just getting some healing done. Because I was injured earlier on. I've got a little bit of health missing. And that's purely from all of these horrible serpents who, as they fly into you, they do quite a lot of damage. It's very annoying all the same. So, do need to be aware of that as a general rule of thumb. Just how much damage you take. And because I'm a scatterbrained moron, there are a lot of times when I don't pay attention to it. Because that's what's happened a couple of times already, is where I've taken more damage than I'd like, more quickly than I probably would like, and have gone, oh no, everything will be fine, it'll be all okay. Oh dear, I'm now unconscious. Thankfully, though, I've been very, very lucky, and I don't know why, and having not lost any items, and having seen the amount of stuff that people can lose on Reddit when people have posted it, sort of like lamenting their poor luck, I genuinely don't understand how I've managed it. Right, so we're going to smash that rock. We're nearly at the end of this cursed spiral. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to try and slam into these horrible slimes as much as possible again with a hammer. Going to go further down. That's just how this is going. Okay, that's fine. Smash, 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 smash. That's the thing is, I mean, we're breaking lots of things, which is lovely. Kind of a given, isn't it? That's what we're here for, breaking stuff and delving further in. I mean, there's nothing else I can really say on that, is that is why we're here. We're here to just be an annoyance, almost, to all of the native creatures to these caverns. What I do find fascinating is like the history of Stardew Valley, or like this general area at least, must have some really unusual history. Because you've got naturally forming caves with stairways down into mummified humanoids. So that's interesting in of itself, because they are just almost alarming in a sense, really. Going, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing, or how were they there? Who were they? And the fact that they're animated is kind of concerning all in itself, anyway, because, you know, the undead. But yeah, it's a curious state of affairs that you've got these partially buried ruins that have become part of rock formations. And I do know, yes, land does increase in height because of by being near civilization, and then obviously wind can drive, that could be a force of driving in stuff and trying to figure out things. But there's lots to try to, like, I need to wrap my head around, because it doesn't make sense. How could this be? I almost feel like I should probably, like, maybe message an archaeologist friend of mine. Well, I say archaeologist. He did a degree in archaeology. I mean, I know that does make him an archaeologist, but I don't actually know about how much experience he has with digs like well, hypothetically like this one. He's done a lot of stuff actually with the Roman ruins in the UK because, shock enough, we've got loads of them. Littered everywhere. I live near a place called Fishbourne, which has a Roman manor. Beautiful, beautiful mosaic work. And then you've also got like the historic city of Bath, which is just, well, it's just an entire bathhouse city based around that as a concept. But what is interesting is that I didn't realise that there are also other cities called Bath elsewhere in the world based off of the, I'm assuming, because I could be very wrong, linguistics isn't my main knowledge base, but Bath is probably based off of a Latin word to do with bathing. And there is a place in Romania called Bath. Probably not pronounced the same way, but that's how it's spelt. And that has also been a very highly recommended place for me to go if I want to go and visit wonderful spas. And Romania is definitely on my list of places to visit. I think it's got a lot of interesting history, and I do genuinely feel sorry for the history of the country because it's been much maligned. But I'm curious to see and curious to visit it at some point in the future. So we'll see on that one. Okay. Getting further down, which is nice. We've got another bomb to place. That's all good. Slap you in the face with a hammer, and then beat you in the face with a hammer. Dead ghosties. I mean, deader than they already were, because again, the dead, the undead, blah, blah, blah. So the whole undead thing is also quite a fun little thing for me, in some ways. So when I was a lot younger, I remember visiting Germany on a German exchange to a beautiful small town called Lörrach. It's on the border between Switzerland and it's very close to France. Essentially, it's in the south-western corner of Germany. Absolutely lovely place. It's also where Milka has its factory. So if you ever indulged in a Milka chocolate bar, I have toured that factory, and it was fun. But when I was there, I remember watching one of these like American scary movie. I can't remember the name of it. It was one of those comedy horror movies. And I just remember hearing the lead character of Vampire being like, "Ich bin untot," like I am undead. And it was just one of those, like, it was clearly a little bit badly translated, which kind of made it funnier. So anytime I think of the undead, that little phrase in the back of my head just always comes along. And it's not super, super annoying. It's just a bit weird. That's the first thing that jumps into my head whenever I think of the undead, is just that. Can't deny it, it's a bit odd. I'm painfully aware it is. But then again, I'm also painfully aware that I am also a little bit odd. Anyway. So we've got some more quartz. That's going to be helpful, I think, going forward, because we're going to always need more of that. Because quartz. But again, 5 quartz is better. Right, so let's quickly return back to the farm, distribute my stuff into the chest. So I will say thank you very much for tuning in for this, my episode of Stardew Valley. High Ridge Farm is doing fantastically, and I'm really pleased with how things have gone this year in gameplay. I'd like to say a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. And if you have enjoyed, please do like, share, and subscribe, as I fail at trying to get through a doorway and hitting my hammer into the floor. But yes, please do like, share, and subscribe, because those all do really help, and I always do try to engage with the comments. And yeah, hopefully I will catch you all again the next time the Walrus plays Stardew Valley.